Welcome to Dark Wave, where powerful stories unfold. We delve into character development, exploring the trials of interracial struggles and prejudice. This is Dark Wave's origin story. To upgrade our resources, we need you to hit the thumbs up, like button, and subscribe, and share these videos with everyone you know. We appreciate any support given. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Welcome to the Dark Wave YouTube series from Kaw Films, where we dive deep into character development and science fiction. This is the origin story of the world's first superhero, who happens to be interracially mixed. How did his parents meet? How did his grandparents react, and how did they overcome prejudices? Tune in to join the journey of Dark Wave. Please like and share and subscribe. Your support will bring love into your life. Enjoy!
Dark Wave.
Dark Wave. Episode 4. The Power of Words.
Words have power, real, undeniable power. They can light the darkest corners of a soul or cast shadows where there was once hope. Words can build bridges between enemies or ignite wars between friends. They can heal or hurt. They shape perceptions, spark movements, and ripple through time long after they've been spoken. A single phrase can change a mind, and a single truth can change lives. James knew this. He had always stood out, not just for the color of his skin, in a place where few shared it, but for his quiet strength and unwavering dignity. One of the few black students at a prestigious Korean university, he carried more than just his books through those halls. He carried expectations, assumptions, and the weight of history. But today, it wasn't his self-defense skills or his formidable presence that left the deepest mark. It was his voice, calm, measured, unshakably clear. And for Gia, that voice would echo not just in the classroom, but in her heart, a spark that would grow into something more than either of them expected. Speaking in fluent Korean, James delivers a speech that will be talked about among the teaching staff for years to come. For now, class has started, and the professor of cultural anthropology and human genetics, Professor Han Seoyeon or Han Sun, addresses the class regarding their reports on genetics and racial diversity. Students settle in their seats. The atmosphere is casual until James steps forward. Confident yet calm, he pauses, glancing around a room. The energy changes. James wasn't known for raising his voice, but when James chose to speak, the room always listened. Today wasn't about his uniqueness or physical presence. It was about something far more powerful. His words.
I want to talk about something deeper than just genes or chromosomes today. I want to talk about how we see each other and, more importantly, why. Science tells us that over 99.9% of our DNA is identical. That means no matter where you're from, no matter the shade of your skin or the shape of your eyes, we are, biologically, almost exactly the same. The differences we see are superficial. Skin tone, hair texture, facial features, these come from tiny variations in our DNA. Tiny. But somehow, they've led to massive divisions in our world. Throughout history, those minor differences have been used to justify prejudice, hate, exclusion, even genocide. Entire systems have been built on the lie that one group is superior to another. But science doesn't support that. Truth doesn't support that. Prejudice isn't just immoral, it's illogical. It flies in the face of everything we know about biology, about history, about progress.
He wasn't reading from notes. These words lived inside him, shaped by a lifetime of experience and quiet resilience. As he paced slowly across the front of the class, his voice didn't rise, but it resonated. Some students leaned forward, drawn in. Others sat back, uncertain how to respond, but no one looked away. James then continues.
We've all heard that old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But that's a lie. It always has been. Words can and do hurt. In fact, they can even start wars. Words can shape ideologies, started companies and ended them, destroyed lives and rebuilt them. Words and actions carry legacy. They define moments. And today I want my words to do more than check a box for a classroom grade. I want them to make you think.
Professor Min Ji-yoon, usually reserved and sharp-eyed, watched without interruption. James had her attention now, especially the girl who was most interested in him. Jia was seated near the back and couldn't take her eyes off him. For her, this wasn't just a speech, it was a revelation. She had seen his strength before, but never this kind of compassion, this kind of fire. James, now gaining quiet momentum.
We're not born with hate. We're taught it, fed it. And if it can be taught, it can be unlearned. We spend so much time focusing on how we're different, we forget how much we share. We forget that pain, joy, love, fear, these things don't care what language you speak or where your ancestors came from.
James stopped walking. His eyes lifted, not just to the students, but through them, as if he were speaking to generations beyond this time. The air felt heavier, charged with unspoken truth. In Jia's chest, something shifted. She wasn't just admiring him now, she was feeling seen. James goes on to complete his inspiring, powerful closing.
So the next time someone tries to divide us based on the surface, I challenge you, look deeper. We bleed the same color. We dream in the same language. And when we hurt, we all cry the same tears. Let's stop measuring people by where they're from, how they look, or what language they speak, and start seeing the value of who they are. Because in the end, science doesn't lie. The facts don't lie. Love doesn't lie. We are connected by more than blood. We are connected by truth. And that truth is simple, powerful, and undeniable. So essentially, we are all the same.
The room fell into silence, not out of confusion, but respect. Then came the sound, soft at first, clapping. Jia clapped hardest. And for the first time, she saw not just the boy she admired, but the man he was becoming. James didn't smile to show off. He smiled because he'd spoken his truth. And sometimes, well, that's the loudest victory of all. After class was over, everyone went their separate ways. Even Jia took off without saying too much to James, besides a congratulatory good job with slight hug and pat on the back. As flustered as she was, she did not want to give any indication to the other students that she was secretly in love with James. Still mesmerized by James' speech, but at the same time, doing some heavy reflecting regarding her views of other races, culture, quality, and how interracial relationships are viewed in South Korea. She even ponders over the views of her family individually, which differ from one person to the next. Now Jia is at home looking out her window in her dorm, contemplating her feelings about James.
I've always known James was different. Not because of how he looks, but because of how he sees the world. He says things others are too afraid to even think. And the speech that he gave yesterday. He wasn't just brilliant. He was brave, he was handsome, and he was right. He's not just someone I admire. He's someone that I need. But wanting something doesn't make it easy. Especially when your parents have already written your story for you. Well, at least my mother. But he's different from what my parents expect, though. He's not from the same background. He's not aiming for the path they want for me, the comfortable, predictable future they dream about.
The strength of his character was overwhelming, and his intelligence was higher than even her intelligence. He would be too perfect if he were Korean, but she guessed his flaw was that he was a black foreigner. She quickly dismissed it as a flaw, correcting her thoughts, saying,
God made him that way, he can't help it. He is beautiful as he is, and so is everyone else.
Jia, though considered friendlier than the average Korean to foreigners, still had years of stereotyping and traditional family members that sometimes dictated her thoughts. But even this wasn't enough to extinguish the growing love for James, because sometime along the way of getting to know him, the fact that he was different, the fact that he was a foreigner, and the fact that he was a black student from the United States simply just vanished. After saying these words among her thoughts, she looks down at her phone. Missed call, mom. Message. We need to talk about your future. Jia then sighs heavily. After contemplating all day about letting her feelings be known to James, she first asked herself a series of questions, preparing for when everyone finds out about her and James. She already knew that James cared about her, though at first she couldn't imagine herself with a black foreigner, but James was someone she had never met before. Well, that concludes episode number 4, The Power of Words. Please subscribe, hit the like button, share the video, and ring the bell so that you won't miss out on the good stuff, such as what will happen when news spreads her being with James. How will her friends, her parents, her grandmother, the patriarch of the family, and the Korean guys who like her respond to James? How about other professors? Find out all the drama starting with next week's episode 5, Confessions of Feelings from Jia. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Or, in Korean, 다음에 꼭 다시 만나요.
Don't breaks, the tide will rise. Different faces, same disguise. Lines divide, but truth remains. Underneath, we're all the same. One force, one fight, dark wave. One force, one fight, dark wave.